Good day to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska and this is Poland Daily Culture. Today we still want to look at the perspective and the view of the cities, looking at the buildings from a different perspective. It is only history and what we can see on a facade, but underneath, who owns it, who rebuilt it, and who's going to buy it or is currently selling something. With us is Crig Smitch. Thank you very much for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me on the show. My pleasure.
Crig, you are a publisher of a magazine, Europa Property.
Mm-hmm.
So you are you have a radar over all of the current investments and everything what's going on in the market. So with a ongoing war in Ukraine, which
mm-hmm.
is just behind our border, and the fact that we see all of those bombs destroying Kiev or
mm-hmm.
destroying other cities, it's always the case. The question is, who's going to rebuild it? Which companies? Which artists as well? Who are they going to be historical way or modern ones? And who? What's the chance that Poland will have a part in this cake?
Right. Well, that's some very good questions. I think many companies are looking at what are the opportunities for rebuilding. I think, we just have to take a step back, and because we had so many contacts there, or have many contacts there, we've seen such just despair and horrible things happening that, sometimes if you're not there, you just don't see it. And if, maybe you're just watching it a bit on TV or not really watching it. So we just hope the war will come to an end soon, and somehow I think these people will, just about the whole country needs to get treatment from shock, I think, and, PTSD or seeing just, horrible things. So that's kind of got to go. Well, obviously the war has to stop before they're going to be rebuilding a lot of things, but I think just even taking care of the actual people there is going to be a big challenge. On the rebuilding, I think you'll have a lot of European companies and American companies trying to, let's say, get in and figure out what to rebuild. I think and find out where they can help out. I think on how they're going to do it, whether it's more old style or modern style, really is going to come down to the city architects, the city mayors, and what kind of cities they want. If you look at Kharkiv and some of these old cities, you think, wow, they had such nice buildings. Clearly they have photos and videos and all these things. So if they're going to build, probably some of those cities will say, hey, let's build it back that way. But again, it comes down to the city architect and the mayor and the voters, really.
But also the amount of and the stream of money, which of course, because it all will be very expensive, definitely, especially reconstructing. And do you think, is there also, you looking at the market, are they even right now anyone buying, for example, apartments in Kiev? Or
there's some big, yes, for sure there is. I think the big problem with these kind of, let's say, opportunistic buyers is the prices just aren't coming down enough. But it is a bit risky. You're buying a building and you don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I think, there are companies and individuals taking those risks, and there are people that want to sell and just not ever come back. So I think there's risks on both sides, or there's opportunities on both sides. There's also big companies buying up buildings because they have the money, and they're probably getting a discount on some of this, and taking the risk on what to do. So there definitely is some of that going on, I think, and there will be more as the situation occurs. I think in some of these devastated residential buildings will take a little longer because they don't just physically know where the people are. If they're
the owners.
The owners, where are they? And if they didn't survive, who's making the decisions on these buildings? But on the commercial real estate ones, there's usually one owner or a group of owners, and they know who they are. Some of them are being sold. I think as far as rebuilding, there's not, what I understand is there's no problem with getting the money to rebuild the country, as they've already frozen most of the Russian assets around the world, that they're using that money, or they're supposed to use that money to rebuild. So I don't see a big problem in getting the funds to rebuild. It's just I think I see more of there will be a lot of international companies, and including Polish companies that were coming to our events before and know Kiev quite well, and a lot of Polish companies were already working there before the war on construction, on some architects. A lot of Polish architects were there working on newer buildings, and probably some of the other residential things that we don't deal with so much. But so yeah, I think it'll be, for those companies, it'll be really a great opportunity to go in and help rebuild the country.
And a huge competition as well.
I think there will be a lot of competition for sure. The German construction companies are
Ready.
ready to put in the money as well, and international, big construction companies definitely see it as a potential opportunity in the future.
Absolutely. So to all of you who are interested in buildings and what's going on under and behind the facade, then definitely thinking about, we'll see how big part is the Polish hand in rebuilding Kiev and rebuilding Ukraine, which hopefully will come very soon when the war is over. Again, thank you very much for watching our show, and stay with us for another episode.